When it comes to horror games, fear doesn't always come from what you can see. Sometimes the most terrifying experiences come from the unknown. The feeling that something is watching you, something you don't understand, and something that you may never be prepared to face. The Mound, Omen of Cthulhu takes that idea and throws players into a dark 16th century expedition where greed, exploration, and cosmetic horror collide. What starts as a search for lost treasure quickly becomes a desperate fight for survival against ancient forces waiting deep within the jungle. Combining cooperative survival horror with psychological tension, the game challenges players to work together, manage their resources, and question whether the dangers around them are real or simply a result of their own minds beginning to break down. With its dark atmosphere, Lovecraftian horror influences, and unique sanity system, the Mound Omen of Cthulhu is aiming to deliver an experience where survival depends on more than just defeating your enemies. It's about trusting your team, making difficult choices, and trying to maintain your sanity long enough to uncover the truth. But does the Mound Omen of Cthulhu deliver a memorable horror experience that stands out from the crowd, or does this expedition into the unknown get lost in the darkness? So with that being said, let's find out. The Mound Omen of Cthulhu takes players back into the 16th century, putting them into the role of a Spanish conquistador searching for riches deep within an unexplored South American jungle. What starts as a treasure hunt quickly becomes a fight for survival when your expedition uncovers secrets that were never meant to be found. After your crew becomes stranded near the coast of Chile in 1652, you set out from the galleon Timstead to search for supplies, locate missing explorers, and investigate the mysteries surrounding the legendary mound. However, the deeper you travel into the wilderness, the more you realize the journey is about much more than discovering lost treasure. The game does a great job of building its story through environmental details, abandoned camps, old journals, and mysterious discoveries help create a constant feeling of dread while allowing players to piece together the truth themselves. The biggest narrative feature is the sanity system, which plays a major role in the psychological horror. As your characters' minds begin to deteriorate, reality becomes harder to trust. The world around you can change, visions can appear, and players will have to question whether they are facing a real threat or something created by their own disturbed perception. This works especially well during cooperative play because every player may experience the horror differently. The Mound Omen of Cthulhu is not just about exploring a dangerous location, it's about the fear of discovering something that was never meant to be found. From a presentation standpoint, the Mound Omen of Cthulhu does an excellent job of creating an uncomfortable atmosphere that keeps players on edge. Instead of relying on constant jump scares, the game builds fear through its environment, sound design, and the feeling that something unknown is always nearby. The visual design perfectly matches the horror setting. The jungle is filled with dense vegetation, decaying structures, muddy pathways, and dark locations that makes exploration feel dangerous. The muted colors and gloomy environments help create a world that feels isolated and unforgiving. The sanity system also impacts the visual presentation by changing how players experience the world. As your mental state falls apart, the environments can become distorted with strange visual effects and hallucinations that force you to question what is actually happening. Lighting plays a huge role in creating tension, with limited visibility and only small light sources to guide you through the jungle. Every shadow feels like it could be hiding something, waiting to attack. The sound design is one of the game's strongest features. Distant creature noises, footsteps, and environmental sounds makes every moment feel important. The game uses audio to create paranoia where even a small sound can make players stop and wonder what is approaching. The soundtrack takes more of a controlled approach, using dark, ambient music and slow burning tension instead of constantly pushing the horror. This creates a more effective experience because the quiet moments of uncertainty can sometimes be more terrifying than the action itself. Performance is also genuinely stable on current-gen systems, allowing the atmosphere and gameplay to remain the focus without major technical issues taking you out of the experience. At its core, the Omen of Cthulhu is a cooperative survival horror experience that focuses on teamwork, exploration, and resource management. While combat is part of the experience, the game is not designed to make players feel like powerful heroes. Every encounter is built around surviving against threats that can quickly overwhelm you. Players can experience the game solo or with up to about 4 players, but cooperative play is where the game's best ideas come to life. Before each expedition, players must prepare their equipment, manage resources, and decide how they want to approach the mission ahead. Once you enter the jungle, each expedition becomes a balancing act between exploration and survival. The further you push into unknown territory, the greater the rewards become, but the risks increase as well. The sanity system is the feature that makes the gameplay stand out the most. As your characters mentally go into a state of decline, the world becomes less reliable. You may see threats that aren't really there, experience distortions, or questions whether your teammates are seeing the same thing you are. This creates some of the game's best moments because communication becomes essential. Players have to stay together, share information, and work as a team if they don't want to kill each other and just make it out alive. Combat is purposefully slow and methodological. Weapons feel limited, resources are important, and every fight requires strategy. The game rewards players who think before attacking instead of charging into every situation. Overall, the gameplay successfully blends cooperative horror, exploration, and survival mechanics into an experience that feels different from many other horror titles. While the Mound, Omen of Cthulhu has so many creative ideas, it also has several issues that prevent it from reaching its full potential. The biggest problem is the combat system. While the slow and unpredictable weapons fit the time period, they can sometimes make the encounters feel more frustrating than immersive. Melee attacks can feel unresponsive. Firearms take time to use effectively, and some encounters feel like they are testing your patience more than your skill. The solo experience is also noticeably weaker. Many of the game's best moments come from playing with other people and discussing what each player is experiencing without real teammates. Some of the psychological tension loses its impact. There are some gameplay systems that can feel unpolished. Certain objectives and mechanics can interrupt the flow of the expedition and take away from the tension of the game that worked so hard to create. Simulator sections can also feel overly punishing, where one small mistake can result in losing significant progress. While challenge is important for horror games, some moments feel more frustrating than satisfying. These issues don't completely ruin the experience, but they do keep the game from becoming an amazing horror title it could have been. The Mound, Omen of Cthulhu is a unique cooperative horror experience that successfully creates a feeling of uncertainty, fear, and exploration. Its atmosphere, sanity system, and Lovecraftian influences help create some of the most memorable moments that horror fans will appreciate. When played with friends, the game's strongest ideas come to life, creating moments where communication, teamwork, and trust becomes just as important as surviving the creatures around you. However, issues with combat, solo play, and some unpolished mechanics hold it back from reaching its full potential. There are great ideas here, but they need more refinement to become something truly special. For that, I give the Mound, Omen of Cthulhu a 3 out of 5. Thank you for tuning into the best place for independent gaming journalism, and that's the gamer section. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more reviews, news, and gaming content here at the gamer section.